They heard her last words, then she was gone. In July 1937, a small twin-engine plane flew low over the Pacific, the ocean flashing silver below. Inside sat a woman with short, windswept hair and a look of absolute focus. Her name was Amelia Earhart, and she was one of the most famous pilots alive. She was about to finish an around-the-world flight, a feat no woman had ever completed. But within hours, her radio went silent, her plane vanished from radar, and she was never seen again. To this day, no one truly knows what happened. Stay with me till the end, because today we're uncovering one of history's most mysterious secrets, a world hidden behind walls. Sweet incense and whispers lost to time. Welcome to Mystery Vault, where the past hides more than it tells. If you're new here, hit subscribe for more forgotten stories buried in history's shadows. Amelia wasn't born into adventure. She grew up in Kansas, a quiet, ordinary Midwestern life. But as a teenager, she loved the sound of engines and the idea of flight long before most people had ever seen an airplane. The first time she rode in one, she said the moment the plane lifted off, she knew she had to learn how to fly. That dream wasn't easy. In the 1920s, very few women flew, and even fewer were taken seriously. When she decided to train, flight schools often refused her. Eventually, she found a female instructor, Netta Snook, and began taking lessons in a rickety old plane on the dusty airfields outside Los Angeles. By 1922, Amelia bought her own second-hand plane, a bright yellow Kinner Airster. She called the Canary. She started breaking records almost immediately. First woman to fly above 14,000 feet. Then, in 1932, the first woman to fly solo across the Atlantic. That flight changed everything. Newspapers called her Queen of the Air. Sponsors lined up. Little girls began collecting her photos like movie stars. But Amelia wasn't flying for fame. She was a perfectionist, disciplined, cautious, but driven by a desire to prove that women could do what men did. She planned every flight with military precision, logging weather data, fuel calculations, and radio routes. And by the mid-1930s, she wanted to do something no woman had done before. Fly around the entire world. It wasn't just a stunt. The route would be nearly 29,000 miles long, following the equator, the hardest way possible. She and her navigator, Fred Noonan, trained for months. They selected a new Lockheed Electra 10E, fitted with extra fuel tanks and state-of-the-art navigation gear. The press followed every step. Amelia.com, as ever, simply said she wanted to see the world from the broad back of the air. Her first attempt in March 1937 failed when the plane's landing gear collapsed in Hawaii. Rather than quit, she had it repaired and quietly prepared for another try. On June 1, 1937, she took off from Miami, heading east with Noonan beside her. Over the next month, they crossed South America, Africa, India, and Australia, 22,000 miles completed. The final stretch lay over the vast Pacific Ocean. That's where the story turns into a mystery. Their next stop was Howland Island, a tiny coral strip barely 2 miles long, somewhere in the middle of the Pacific. A U.S. Coast Guard ship, the Itasca, waited nearby to guide them by radio. On the morning of July 2, 1937, Amelia's plane lifted off from Lae, New Guinea, loaded with fuel for the 2,500-mile trip. The weather was good at first, but headwinds were stronger than expected. After 18 hours of flying, the Itasca began picking up faint messages. At 7:42 a.m., her voice came through clearly. Greater than, we must be on you, but cannot see you. Fuel is running low. Minutes later, we are on line 157 to 337. We are running north and south, and then, silence. No crash signal, no trace of wreckage, no parachute seen. The plane simply vanished. Within hours, the largest sea and air search in history began. The U.S. Navy sent ships, aircraft, and patrols across thousands of square miles. Nothing was found, no debris, no oil slick, no sign of life. After 2 weeks, the official search ended. Amelia Earhart was declared missing, and later presumed dead. She was 39 years old, but the mystery never rested. Over the years, dozens of theories have surfaced. The most accepted one says her plane ran out of fuel near Howland Island and crashed into the ocean. The Electra likely sank quickly in deep water, far beyond the technology of the time to locate. Yet there were stranger possibilities. Some early radio operators claimed to have heard faint distress calls on Earhart's frequencies days after she vanished, short messages like "we are on a reef" and "water rising." The signals were too weak to verify, but they led to a new theory, that Amelia and Noonan landed on a nearby uninhabited island called Nicomaroro, then Gardner Island, and died waiting for rescue. In the 1940s, British colonists on that island found part of a woman's shoe, a small makeup compact, and bones, items that seemed to fit Amelia's description. Decades later, researchers analyzed those bones using modern forensic methods. Some data suggested they could belong to a woman of her size and build, though later reviews disagreed. Still, the Nicomaroro theory remains the most talked about. Other theories drift further into speculation that she was captured by Japanese forces. that she became a prisoner, or that she secretly lived under another identity after the war. None have credible evidence, but they show how deeply her disappearance captured the imagination. In 2018, sonar teams again searched the seafloor near Halland Island using advanced underwater drones. They mapped vast areas but found no trace of the Lockheed Electra. It seems the Pacific, deep and restless, still keeps her secret. What made Amelia's story last isn't just the mystery, it's what she represented. She was a woman flying at a time when most of the world thought she shouldn't. She broke record after record without arrogance or showmanship. Her calm confidence inspired generations. And perhaps that's why the question still echoes almost a century later. How could someone so skilled, so precise, simply disappear? Maybe the answer lies somewhere beneath miles of dark ocean water. Or maybe it's simpler, she took the ultimate risk, chasing the edge of the map, and the world just wasn't ready to follow. What's certain is that Amelia Earhart never really vanished. Her plane may have gone missing, but her story, the daring, the mystery, the drive to go farther still circles the world, just as she tried to do. If you enjoyed this journey through Mystery Vault, make sure to subscribe and join us for more mysteries of history and the world around us.